Hello Flosstube, I'm Rachel, stitch.rach, here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It is Sunday the 19th of January, and this is my sporadic YouTube channel about cross stitch. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome if it's your first time here. It feels like it's everyone's first time here, given it's 3 months since I last filmed. And thank you for coming back, hanging on so patiently if you're a returning watcher. I think we might call today a soft relaunch. So I put a thing on my Instagram, a poll thing on my Instagram last weekend and said, oh, should I do a Flosstube? And everyone's like, yeah. And then I thought, right, that holds me, not holds me to it, but it kind of, it gives me some kind of responsibility to go and do something, because otherwise this would just never happen. All the children and the husband have gone out to hockey training. I have to go and pick 2 of the children up in an hour. So I'm on the clock, which is good because it means I can't just ramble on, despite the fact I am now just rambling on. But honestly, when you haven't done one of these for ages, and not only haven't done one of these for ages, there's been Christmas in the middle. It was a bit chaotic this morning. I couldn't find 2 of the things I was going to show you. I have found them, but at one point I was like, I'm just going to film without them because I don't have time to carry on looking. I went to put my makeup on. If this eye looks like I'm trying to cover up a black eye, I'm not. I just really was rushing and not concentrating, and instead of getting my brush in the light eyeshadow, I managed to get it in the dark brown eyeshadow and sweep it around my eye before I realised what was going on. So I tried to cover up actually dark brown eyeshadow. Then couldn't find the batteries for the camera and actually wasn't sure if I had a battery charged for the camera. So, you know, all super well planned, super organised for my return to Flosstube. So as we say, we'll say it's a soft launch today and we'll see how we get on. So yeah, I kind of went AWOL from Instagram and YouTube at the end of last year, and just, I mean, obviously Christmas and that's busy for everyone, but we just had a bit of change in our house, of which more at the end. I'll do a bit of a life update at the end if any of you are interested. But there was just too much going on. It was too difficult. Having said that, we are all well, we're all happy, we're all healthy. So nothing, you know, nothing really awful, just things. And as I say, I'll go into it a bit more at the end if you're interested. So what's my plan for today? Well, with all the things that happened at the end of the year, I wasn't stitching a whole lot either. And since the beginning of the year, I have had one finish and then stitched monogamously on one thing. And I was like, well, that's going to be a boring Flosstube. So the things I was running around trying to locate this morning were my finishes from last year. And I have found them all. So I thought I'd do a little finish parade. I didn't have the energy all the time to do a whip parade, frankly. Maybe next time I'll do a whip parade. But I just, the thought of pulling everything out this morning, just, no, it wasn't going to happen. But hopefully you will enjoy my little finish parade. And you can see what I'm stitching at the moment, and I'll have a little chat with you about my 2025 plans, such as they are, and we'll get into it. Does that sound good? Cool. All right, let's go. Shall we do some stats? I brought a book up with me somewhere, in theory, with some stats. Where did I put it? Oh, here on the floor. Told you, this is going to be slick. You're going to watch this and think, wow, the planning and production values that have gone into this are awesome. I am also really sorry about the lighting. It's very yellow. It's a really, really gloomy day. Yesterday, it's beautiful, bright blue sunshine. Today, very gloomy. I will see if I can do something about the yellowness of the lighting in the edit, but no promises. So, I started 2024 with 28 whips, and I think I said on last year's whip parade that I would like to whip down a little bit during the course of 2024. I think I said that. It sounds like something I'd say. Let's go with that's what I said. Anyway, so this year I have started 19 things. I have finished... Did I really start 19 things? That feels very high. I might go and check that in a minute. But apparently, I did count it up. I started 19 things. I finished 19 things. Which makes me 0. These can't be right, because this makes no sense. And I UFO'd 2 things. And apparently I'm starting the year with 24 whips. So that doesn't make sense for a start, does it? I know I haven't. I did start 2025 with 24 whips. Let me just have a quick count of this. No, I haven't got what I... So I started the 12 word plays. I started Twin Beds. I started Easy Peckings. Started Celebration of Colour. Yeah, let's find out. I definitely finished 19 things because they're here. And I'm definitely starting the year with 24 things. And I definitely UFO'd 2 things. So if my maths is right, that means I started 17 things, right? Oh, it's just going so badly wrong already. I will check those stats later. But I know I've finished 19 things because they're here. And I know I UFO'd 2 things. And I know I've got 24 whips. So I've gone from 28 whips at the beginning of 2024 to 24 whips at the start of 2025. So we're moving in the right direction. We are moving in the right direction. So what did I finish in 2024? I'm not going to do these, I don't think, in the order I finished them. I'm going to do them in an order that makes sense to me. So, if you watched me last year, you will know that a friend had very kindly lent me the With Thy Needle and Thread wordplay charts that are now out of print. I'm very grateful to that person, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed stitching them. My friend at Crafting Kirsty said to me, you're not going to keep up with that. And you know what? At the start of the year I was a little bit like, oh, maybe I won't. But I did. I have now finished all 12 of the word plays. None of them are FFO'd. Not a one. But that could be my goal by the end of this year. So I will show them all to you. Some of them you've seen before. Some of them you haven't. They're all stitched on a 36 count Edinburgh linen by Swigart in the colour flax. And I did 4 on each piece of linen. So these were just pre-cuts from Wool Warehouse. And I stitched them in general in all the called for gentle arts. So this is January. Now, the white on there are 2 snowflakes here. Can I get... There you go. They do show up better in person than they are on the camera. But that's January. I don't think I made any changes in January. I think that is just as charted. February, again, just as charted. Very nice. I might try and get this one finished for next month to display it. Ha, famous last words. But I might try. With all the time I've got. Then March, I did. And I was really keeping up with these. By and large, these were all stitched in their respective month last year. And then on this page we've got April. I do love that bunny on April. I did make a change on April on the daffodil leaves and stems. I can't remember what the called for was, but my skein of it, because gentle arts are notorious that the colours do change over time. My skein of whatever was called for, was it like corn husk, or it was something like that. It was really yellow, like wee yellow. And I had personally never seen wee yellow daffodil leaves, so I changed it, I think, to green apple, but don't hold me to that. But anyway, I changed the called for, that the skein I had was very yellow, to something that I thought more resembled a daffodil. So then, just got to find the next piece of fabric with the next 4 months on. There are some changes on some of these. This is when we start getting a bit Americana in the series. And I tried to tone that down a little bit because obviously I'm not American. This is May. Not a huge amount of changing on May. I think there was, I don't have most of the charts anymore. I returned them to the owner. I still have 3 that need returning to the owner. But most of them have gone back, so I don't have May anymore. But I think it was charted with a little American flag on top of that bee skip. And so I just put in another bee instead. Again, there's like a little white picket fence down there. Doesn't show from back here, but it is there. And as I say, it does show better in real life. June was this one. Again, I think from memory, the lady was holding an American flag. So I just took that out and put that little bluebird in instead. I don't think you can tell that there's a flag missing or anything. I think I've filled the space reasonably well. Then July. Now, as you can imagine, July was quite 4th of July heavy. So that wasn't for me. I did take some inspiration from the lovely Kirby Wendy Woo on Instagram. She's not on Flosstube, but if you don't follow her on Instagram, go and follow her on Instagram. She's got some lovely, lovely things. And she's done these series and was posting at the beginning of each month. And so I did take a little bit of inspiration from what she did. It's not the same, but it did give me some ideas. So I just made it into, like she's done, about a day at the beach, which is more what July is about in the UK. So I took out all the words like fireworks and parade and I can't remember what else there were, but there were some kind of 4th of July words and replaced it with kind of rock pools, sandcastles, bucket and spade. So much more kind of British summer things. I think the ship had, I guess meant to be Pilgrims, had an American flag on it, so I turned it into an approximation of the British Navy flag. There you go. So that's what I did with that one. And then August, I think, is as charted. I don't think I had to alter anything on August. There you go. There's August. So I am looking forward to having all these finished and displayed. And then the final 3 months. Oh, on August, I did make a big boob. I think I talked about this last time. Can you see I've got an extra August down there? I'd stay, as usual, Kirsty will laugh. I dropped some red wine on my fabric and I thought it was going to be too close. It's not. It's going to be fine. That'll be hidden away in the seam. But, so I tried stitching it the other way, but then really didn't have enough room and was running into June above, so I had to unpick it all and restitch it, which that wasted a load of time. Honestly, things I do. Just don't drink red wine when you're stitching, Rachel, would be the obvious answer, wouldn't it? But so the final 4 had September. It's just very school based. I think there might have been a couple of American flags on here, but I just removed them. Then October, I think, is as charted. It's very Halloweeny. Really liked stitching October, actually. It was fun with all these pumpkins. Right, November. November was a bit of a shocker. I might have I own the November chart. The November chart is mine. There were 3 of these charts that I did own myself. Let's take it out of the packet and you can see it properly. So November is just Thanksgiving. The whole thing. So it's got a turkey, a cornucopia, and the words are like cranberries, cornucopia, turkey, Indian corn, pumpkin pie, pilgrims. So I was like, what can I salvage from that? And really, I just used the layout, ultimately. I think I pretty much changed. Did I change every single word apart from November? Yeah, I did. I changed 1621 it had on it. I basically changed 2 of the motifs and all the words and just used the layout. And this is what I am really pleased with it. This is what I ended up with. So I changed that big turkey to kind of an autumnal leaf. I changed the cornucopia to kind of firework. And I put in Guy Fawkes, falling leaves, pumpkin, wellies, mist. What's that word say? I can't read it backwards. Fireworks, remembrance, because November is our remembrance month. Bonfire, poppy. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I think it is in keeping with... I feel like it's in keeping with the theme of all the others. I don't feel it looks out of place. I took this leaf from another chart. I can't remember what the chart's called. It's that... is it Summerhouse Stitchworks? And it has an owl in the middle. It's a really nice chart. I want to stitch it, but that's where the leaf's stolen from. And then that firework is from a book of cross-stitch silhouettes. It's fairly ancient that I have. But I'm so pleased with that. I hope you like it. And then December, I actually didn't manage to finish December in December. So I finished December about a week ago, and it was my first finish of 2025. And I think I just did it as charted. I changed the colour of Santa. I thought the red that was charted was too brown and I wanted him to be red. And again, I think I changed the colour of the Christmas trees because again, I think they were charted in that wee green that I didn't like. But otherwise, it's kind of as charted. So yes, that was 12 of my 19... No, I was 11 of my 19 finishes last year. And my first finish of 2024. So I suppose I'm down to 23 whips already. Hurrah. I'm going to count all this because those stats are not right. But yes, there you go. So that was my year of word plays. I really enjoyed doing a new month every month. I contemplated doing it again this year because I do have another fully kitted set of monthly charts that I think are either Little House Needleworks or Country Cottage Needleworks. I got them as like a monthly series from either Peakside or Patchwork Rabbit a few years ago. I think it was Peakside. And they sent them every month with all the threads and the fabric and whatnot, and I never stitched them. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll do those. But actually, I think I might have a year off and I might do that next year. And I'd like to carry on whipping down this year. So there you go. There's 11 of the 19 finishes. So that means I've got 9 others. So I'll do these roughly in order. I'm not entirely sure the order, but I'll do them roughly in order. So my New Year, New Start last year, I joined in with Sew Me Sarah and Sally Flossie Sews and Grows, for who I had met both of them in October 2023 at Stitch in London. Sarah was on my table. And they were doing their Fun for 50 sale, so their 50 starts, their 50th birthdays. And they said that their first start was going to be the Twin Birds pincushion that we'd received as a freebie in our Stitch in London pack. And I said, I will start that with you. And so it's one of 2 finishes from last year that is actually FFO'd. And I did it myself. So wonders will never cease. But this is what it looks like. It was charted in 2 blues. I didn't do it in the called for, but very similar to the called for. These were some cottage garden threads that I had in my stash. I can't remember what they were called, I'm sorry. But I did the full mattress pincushion. It's a bit understuffed. On the back, it was charted Stitch in London, but I just stitched my initials and 2024. And then I made these 3 counting pins myself. And plonked those in there. I've made quite a lot of these counting pins now, but the first time I made them I followed the tutorial from Michelle at Mama Loves You GB, which is a very good tutorial. So there you go. But yeah, really pleased with that. And I saw Sarah has finished hers and used the counting pins I sent her. And I know Sally has not finished hers yet because she was planning to do it at our New Year, and then she had some travel chaos. If you want to hear more about that, I'm sure you'll watch Sally. You can hear about that on her channel, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Sally's finished as well. So that was finish, I don't know. It was probably finish 1, but for the purpose of this, it's finish 12 because I'm just mixing them up. My next one was this piece. Every year for the last kind of 4 or 5 years, I've stitched something for my husband for Valentine's Day, and this was last year's offering. As you can see, it's not FFO'd yet. He got it like this in a card. It was from Heart in Hand. Yeah, Heart in Hand. Can't remember what it's called, I'm afraid. Didn't look it up. But it was a really cute stitch. It was quite quick. And I'll try and finish this. Maybe I'll try and finish this off for this Valentine's Day. Yeah, so that was that one. That was a start and a finish. So everything I've shown you so far was a start and a finish in 2024. Yeah. And the next one I'm going to show you was also a start and finish in 2024. Actually, no, I'm going to show you something else first, which was started in 2023 and finished in 2024. And that was the Modern Folk Embroidery Holiday Countdown Chart. So that was with Evertotes and Roxy Floss Co. They release it as a full advent calendar where you get the fabric and the threads from Roxy Floss Co and all the things. I just bought the cards. This was my own fabric and my own threads pulled from Stash. I can't remember what I used. I'll have said in a previous video, if you want to go watch like a video from the beginning of last year, I will have explained what I used. I didn't use as many colours as came in the advent calendar. I pared down the palette a little bit more. And actually, now I remember, this was my first finish of 2024 because I finished it on New Year's Day, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what the fabric is either. I think it's as I got, you know, those vintage country. It's not vintage country mocha. It might be vintage country sand, but it's one of those printed ones. And it's pretty, this. I should frame it. It would look lovely on the wall. Anyway, so that's what it is. As I say, I kind of pulled my own colours from Stash. It was a good fun stitch. I did enjoy it. And yeah, that was my first finish of 2024. So how many is that I've shown you now? 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. So 5 more to go, is that right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you, this was one of the ones I couldn't find this morning, but was a start and finish in 2024 and still has a needle in. I'm very bad, let's put that in my pin cushion. Does anything else still have a needle in? No, just that one. Okay. This was the Celebration of Colour Sal by my lovely friend Ros Clark Crafts. And Ros released this pattern every week, every 2 weeks. And with every release she did this video about colour. It was amazing. All the videos are still on YouTube and I think you can buy the pattern from her Etsy shop. I'll check that out and I'll link her Etsy shop below. She's also got some lovely patterns to go in there. But the idea of this sale was about how colour works together, and she gave you a whole video of guidance on how to pick your colours, which was amazing. But you picked your own colours. And this is what I came up with. This is my colour palette. The design is all her. And I really enjoyed this. I kept up with this sale. I think it's the first sale in my life I've ever kept up with. partly because the parts were like really manageable to do. You didn't feel it was taking over your life, and the videos were fantastic, and it became like a real little community of those of us doing it. I just really, I have never enjoyed a sale so much as this one. So thank you, Roz. It was probably one of my favourite stitches of last year. And I haven't FFO'd it, but I will. I'm thinking needlebook maybe? Maybe? Anyway, there you go. So that was that. Then, what was my next finish? Was my holiday stitch. So again, another start and finish for 2024. So there was only, of my 19 finishes, there were only 3 that were not, is that right? 1, 2, 3. There were only 3 that were not 2024 starts and finishes, which is unusual for me. And this one I stitched on holiday, which is even more unusual for me. So if you're a long-term viewer here, you will know I do not, I'm just checking the time, I'm alright. I do not stitch on holiday. I never stitch on holiday. I take stitching and it sits in the bag and then I take it home again off holiday. And this year I took some stitching and I thought, I will do it. Fully kind of in the back of my mind going, you won't though, it'll just sit in the bag. And we went to Greece this year. I had a villa, had a pool, it was lovely. We went to Kefalonia. Had a fantastic holiday. Beautiful villa, walking distance of tavernas, had our own pool, amazing, just had the best time. The beaches were great and the little towns in Kefalonia were beautiful. We just had such a nice family holiday. But for the first time, my children are kind of old enough that they didn't need me every second. Like the youngest one is now got to an age where I'm not constantly getting mummy, 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 mummy. And it just meant that they can all swim. And I wouldn't leave them unattended in a pool. But they could be in the pool without me either being in there or like literally stood on the edge of it going, don't drown, don't drown. They could be in the pool and I could be on a lounger in sight of the pool, but like reading a book or stitching. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is how it's going to be. Fantastic. So, I did some stitching in Greece, next to the pool. And even if you go and look on Instagram, there is proof. I took a picture. Anyway, what did I stitch on this amazing experience in my life? Lovely friend. This one's got a needle in it as well. Very bad. Let's put that in there too. See, it's useful having a pin cushion while you're filming. Put the wrong end in the pin cushion. A lovely friend lent me Ira Crow by the Good Housewife. I know this is very out of print, so I was very lucky to be able to borrow the chart. This is what it is. I actually finished him on the plane on the way home. We had a 4-hour delay. So whether he would have been finished on holiday without the 4-hour delay, I doubt it. But he was finished on a plane with a 4-hour delay, which was not the most fun experience of my life. We literally sat on the plane on the tarmac for 4 hours. No, 3 hours maybe. Maybe we'd had an hour delay in the airport and then 3 hours on the plane. I do go over the whole saga of the journey home in one of my Flosstubes from last year, if you care. But that's him. I stitched it on a piece of Wiggly, so West Green Loft Yarns. Fabric, I used to be in their fabric club. I am no longer in their fabric club. Not because of anything with their fabric club, just because I have enough fabric. And this is Vanilla Bean. And it's a 36 count. And it's in the Cold 4 DMC. He's on quite a big piece of fabric, but I am also going to borrow the other one. This is Ida Ray Crow. The girl crow. I'm going to borrow from my friend as well. And that's going to go on the same piece of fabric. So yay, that's that one. Sorry, just had to stop the camera there because at 30 minutes my camera stops recording and just cuts you off, and if you're not a little bit aware of the time, you suddenly realise you're just talking to nothing. So I just had to stop and restart you. Right, my next one was my big finish. I did show this finished, I think in my last Flosstube. I finished it at Stitch in London. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about if you've been here before, but it is now FFO'd. I think it went to the framer like literally the day after I filmed that Flosstube. So here it is in all its amazing glory. I'm so pleased. This is Cardinal Points. It has been on the wall. I had to take it off the wall this morning. Obviously it doesn't have the blue post-it note on the wall. I just wanted to cover up some personal details there. But I am so happy with it. I think it looks amazing. Well, we've got it hung up in the house. It looks amazing. I think it's the most beautiful stitch I have ever done. I'm just so happy with it. It was a pig, but now it's finished. Now it's finished, I really enjoy it. It's just so beautiful. I did pay for like there's a slight bit of glare in there, but basically I paid for the non-reflective glass. So you can really see it in all its glory. I absolutely adore it. It took me, I think it took me 6 years, 6.5 years. I started it in January, I want to say 2019. So 5 years, 5.5 years. It shouldn't have taken that long. I kept putting it down. I basically stitched over half of it last year. So it just actually showed when you put your mind to it, you could get it done. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm just so delighted with it. And I'm so delighted it's finished. And I never have to stitch it again. So that was number 18. No, 17. I don't have one of my finishes. One of my finishes is now living with my friend Jane Crumpler. It was my Stitch in London exchange. It was a Funky Chicken by Satsuma Street. So I actually FFO'd 3 finishes last year, which must be a Rachel record. Must be. I will try and insert some pictures of that finish here because I don't have it anymore. So hopefully you've just seen some pictures that I managed to find of my Funky Chicken that Jane now has. Which brings me on to my very last finish, which was the Three Musketeers Sal by Stitching Book Club. Which I can't remember exactly when I finished, I think the end of October sometime. This was one I just really wanted to get off the whip pile. I have absolutely no idea what to do with it. If you have any ideas what to do with it, do let me know. This was a Sal, oh God, years ago, maybe 2020, I want to say, maybe 2019. It was old anyway. Have I got it written down here? Oh, in fact, I can tell you when I started tying all points because it's actually in my book. Told you. Zero planning has gone into this. 2019, I started this in January 2019. Cardinal points oh no, sorry, I can't even read. No, Three Musketeers, January 2020, Cardinal points, January 2019. So Cardinal points was 5.5 years old, and this was 4.5 years old. So, done. No idea what to do with it. It's out of the whip pile. The colours are near those that were charted, but I pulled some colour and cotton, some stash, and the fabric was a blue 32 count fabric by Crafty Kitten, who are no longer trading. And that's it. That is everything I finished in 2024. I have never finished 19 things in a year, ever. Not even nearly. I think the next biggest number of things I finished in a year is 11. So it was a big jump for me. They're not massive, apart from cardinal points. I don't think anything else I've just shown you was massive. So if you want a lot of finishes, definitely smalls are the way to go. But as you know, most of my projects are huge. So I am not expecting anywhere near 19 finishes this year. I think with what I've got in my whip pile, if I get 5 finishes this year, I'll be pretty happy with that. I'm just looking at this eye, and it does look like I'm trying to cover up a black eye, doesn't it? That brown eyeshadow is not helping me. Right, so I only have one whip to show you. So since I finished December Wordplay about a week ago, I have been working on one thing that I started, I'm pretty sure, since I last saw you. I don't think I had started this when I last filmed, but I might be wrong. And it is This Is the Day by Plum Street Samplers. I'm stitching this for a particular reason that I won't go into just now. I will go into later in the year. But I'm making really good progress on it. As I said, I think I started this kind of mid-October. I'd have to check. It's not in that notebook, otherwise I'd check now. I'm pretty sure I started in October because I know I had started it. If you watch Crafting Kirsty, you'll know I met up with her and some of our friends. I knew most people there. There was a couple of people I'd never met before. But she went and they booked a house and they had kind of like a stitchy weekend, and I met up with them one morning at the Nimble Thimble to do some shopping. And I had this then, and it was started, and I showed it to Kirsty and Penny. So I know I'd started it in October, but I don't think I'd started it when I last filmed. Anyway, I was going great guns on it when I showed it to Kirsty and Penny. And then then the end of the year happened, and kind of, as I say, stitching kind of just fell by the wayside really, but I have picked it back up and I am going great guns on it again, and I'm here. I'm pretty much stitching this monogamously at the moment. This is pretty much all my stitching. I don't really have any out and about stitching at the moment. I'm knitting socks, and I'm just doing less out and about crafting in general because I just have less out and abouting, which again in a minute I'll explain a little bit more. That house I only started last Sunday, so that house is a week old, the roof and everything. I thought it would just take forever and ever, and it's not going to be super quick, but I'm about halfway down that end side. So you know, it is stitching. I am making progress. It's stitched on, I think it's some kind of 36 count raw, or maybe it's a 36 count flax. It's a pre-cut from Zweigart anyway, but I thought this was flax, and this has got more, it's like got rawer bits in it. I can't remember what it is. I did try and look it up and I can't find what it is, so I'm not entirely sure what it is. It might be a 32 count. This is definitely a 36. Are those stitches bigger than those ones? Yeah, do you know, I think it's a 32 count. Might be from Lakeside. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's a 32 count something from somewhere. It's like quite a rawy material. It's got like flecks in it. If you think you know what it might be, can you see? Let me know. I'm stitching it in all the called for. Mainly, it's called for a mixture of DMC and Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colourworks. And I had all the Classic Colourwork, well I have a full set of Classic Colourworks, and I had all of the Weeks Dye Works except one. So I'm using the DMC for that, but it's in basically all the called for. I absolutely love it. And I'm going great guns on it. So that's that one. And that's pretty much all my stitching. Yeah. this is my jumper. This is the first jumper I ever knitted. Put it on for you this morning. It's my flax jumper from Tin Can Knits. I finished this end of October, beginning of November. For a first jumper, I am really happy with it. Lots of learning from it. I did the sleeves too short. They drive me a bit mad. I like a longer sleeve. I bound off the body too tight. The bottom ribbing, the ribbing stretches, but that doesn't at all. No giving it whatsoever. So they're the main two learnings. Longer sleeves, probably a slightly longer body as well. Don't bind off your ribbing so tightly. But I am really pleased with it, and I think for a first attempt, that is really not too shabby. There are some mistakes in it, but you know, did it. I knitted something, and I'm knitting some more socks at the moment. And when they're finished, I've done the first one, and I'm currently working my way down the second one. And when they're finished, I'll bring them and show you. Right, plans 2025. I don't have any major plans. I want to attack some of my whips. This is the day I need to finish. I'm going to go on a stash dive maybe later today, and I'm going to pull out something to stitch for my husband for Valentine's Day. I'll have to make sure he's not around. Maybe when he walks the dog. I might walk. Someone needs to walk the dog, and we'll see. Maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be him. If it's him, I'll go on a stash dive then and find a chart. I do have some Valentine's charts in my stash. But yeah, I don't have any specific plans. I'd like to get some work done on Village of Hawk Run Hollow. I'd like to make progress on that. That's now one of my oldest whips. I think it's my second oldest whip behind the Kent map, which I did do some work on last year, but it did not get finished. And then the only other thing this year is I am having a no-buy year at all. I am not buying any cross-stitch stuff. That doesn't mean I am not having new starts. I will have new starts, but they have to come entirely from stash. So no purchasing for me at all. I have so much stuff. I don't need any more stuff. And it's going to be a really strict no-buy as well. So I'm not even going to replace thread I run out of. So I will either have to substitute in something else, or it will have to go away and wait until next year. The only thing I will allow myself to buy is if I run out of needles, which I think is highly unlikely, I will buy some needles. But that's it. And I don't think I'm going to run out of needles. So yeah, it's like hair shirt, scorched earth, no buy. And honestly, I know some of you are like, oh, no buy, but God, if you saw my stash, it's embarrassing. I mean, like, it's really embarrassing. I could probably stitch the next 1,000 years and not run out. So there is absolutely no reason for me to buy anything this year. So yeah, so that's about it. Yeah, no major plans other than no buy, and come and cheer me on, join in on the no buy. I was reading an article in a newspaper the other day about people who do no spend years, and they literally buy nothing they don't need for a year. So they, you know, pay their bills, put fuel in their car, buy food, and buy, you know, cleaning products and, you know, items you run out of, but like no clothes, no meals out, no takeaway coffees, like nothing that is not 100% necessary. I'm not doing that, but I think it'll actually be really good for me just to take stock. And I know everyone will be like, oh, but market and this and that, and it's like, yeah, but I have so much to stitch and it'll still be there another year. And actually sometimes I think just taking a step back for me from some of these purchases and not getting caught up in the hype gives you a chance to go, do I really want that? So we'll see how I get on. So yeah, that's all the stitching stuff. So I'm going to end the stitching chat there. So if you're just here for the stitching, thank you so much for dropping by. Oh, I should say, I hope to do a Flosstube once a month. I can't do 2 weeks. I can't do a week. And I'm not stitching as much. So I just don't think there'd be a huge amount of very exciting content. But once a month, I think I should be able to keep to. So I hope to see you kind of mid to end of February. So if you're heading off now, thank you so much for dropping by on my soft relaunch, and hopefully I will see you in a month's time. If you are here for the life stuff, don't worry, it's nothing terrible. We are all absolutely fine, we're all very happy and we're all very healthy. After half term, so that was end of October, I came back, my eldest just had her birthday, and I have not worked since my eldest was born. And I started to think about maybe, what am I going to do? Because my children are getting older, they're all at school. What am I going to do next? Because they don't need me at home, It's been really enjoyable being at home, but, what am I going to do for the next 20 years kind of thing? And I wasn't thinking like super seriously or in a massive rush to get back to work, but a job came up that was local, that fitted around our lives. And so I didn't even really necessarily think I'd get it, but I put an application in and I got the job. And so I am now back working, not full time, but 5 days a week. So that was change number one. So I went from being stay-at-home mum to 5 days a week working at the beginning of December. I found out I got the job mid-November, and so spent a couple of weeks getting ready and then hit the ground running at the beginning of December. So that was change number one. So that just means I just have much less stitching time than I did before, because all the things that I had to do when I was at home still need to be done, but I just have less time to do them. And then, so that was really positive, like really exciting, but it's changed. So, and it just takes some getting used to. And then slightly less positively, after I was offered that job, but before I started that job, my husband found out that he is being made redundant. So that was slightly less positive, and a little bit of a shock. But, we've had a little while to come to terms with it now, and he'd worked there a long time. So, the redundancy is, we're going to be fine for a little while financially, and so he's got some time to find another job, and it's actually nice having him at home a bit. So there was all that. So just with everything going on, and then Christmas, it was just a lot. So as I say, we're all well, we're all happy, we're all healthy. There was just a lot of change. I had some really positive change and some, slightly surprising, and maybe it will be positive in the long run, because he's got an opportunity now to kind of think about what he wants to do, and it was just a big change. So that is why I kind of just disappeared from Instagram and from YouTube and everything. We've just been dealing with life. And on that note, as I say, that's partly why I am doing less out and about stitching, because now I have someone at home to share the out and about stitching with. Not the out and about stitching, but the waiting around time with. I also, have to do admin and other things in the times that I was sitting around stitching. I don't have as much stitching time because work. It's part of the reason why I want to do a no spend year, because obviously, it's just sensible to watch the pennies a little bit at the moment, frankly. So that's where we are. And it's why I just don't think I can commit to a more than monthly Flosstube, what with work and everything else. So that is what's been going on with me. If you watched this far, thank you very much. This is much longer than I thought it would be. I didn't think it would be kind of nearly an hour today. I thought it would be kind of half an hour job, but I have waffled on as usual, and now I'm waffling even more, and now I do need to go and collect my children from their hockey training. So until next time, which I really, really hope will be towards the end of February, enjoy your stitching, and I'll see you later, stitches. Bye.